Edmund Burke once said, "The quest for knowledge never ends. It leads to more curiosities that lead to a greater mind." We at VVC believe that learning, quest for knowledge, curiosity, and inquisitiveness has no end. Hence, the main objective of this panel discussion is to share our knowledge, experience, expertise, and also to introduce UC and engineering to help you execute this better. Before we start our panel discussion, I, Rupapriya JK, Assistant Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering and also the TPO of VVC, wish to welcome our respected panel members. On this special day, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our special invitee, Engineer Sriram. Welcome, you, sir. I welcome the torchbearer of our institution, the Principal of VVC, Dr. B. Shivaraman. A warm welcome to you, sir. A warm welcome to our respected Professor and Head of the Department of Civil Engineering, Mr. Prasad. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to all our dear participants to this panel discussion. Welcome to each one of you. Education for excellence is our motto. VVC, a leading institution in engineering and management education, is our tagline. Our pride, our VVC, is our punchline. With this, I would like to introduce Vidya Vardhaka College of Engineering, in short, VVC, established in 1997 by Vidya Vardhaka Sangha as a prestigious autonomous institute affiliated to VTU Belgavi, approved by AICTE and VVC New Delhi, and recognized by government. It is also accredited by NAC with PG, and all six PG programs have been approved by NPE. VVC defines the mission of Vidyavardhaka Sangha, a trust which was established in 1949 by great visionaries Sauka Channaya and K. Puttaswamy to impart quality education to all sections of the society. Today, Vidyavardhaka Sangha is under the able leadership of Sri Gundappa Gowda as the president, Sri Shivalingappa B as vice president, Sri Engineer P. Vishwanath as secretary, and Sri S. N. Lakshmi Narayana as the treasurer. The vision of VVC is to be a leading institution in engineering and management education, enabling individuals of significant contribution to the society. Before we start this panel discussion, I would like to introduce our respected panel members. To begin with, it's my privilege to introduce respected principal of VVC, Dr. B. Sadashivagowda. Dr. B. Sadashivagowda obtained PhD in mechanical engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in 1997, the same year when VVC was established. He has rich academic and industry experience in both India and abroad. His specialization in refrigeration and air conditioning helped him serve in Renac India Limited as product development manager, where he successfully designed and developed pre-coolers and liquid carbon dioxide coolers. He served as faculty of engineering in 1999 and later as head of engineering in the American degree program at Taylor's University, which is one of the top universities in Malaysia. I feel extremely proud to mention that he was given Excellence Award in 2004 by Taylor's College for his academic excellence. His journey at VVC began in the year 2007. He started as a professor of mechanical engineering. Later, he was the head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and he took responsibility as vice principal of VVC in 2008, and finally became the principal of VVC from May 2010. I would also like to mention that Dr. B. Sadashiva Gowda was recognized for his dedication and was also nominated as Academic Senate member of VTU from 2013 to 16. He is a fellow of Institute of Engineers, executive member of ISHRE Mysore chapter, and a life member of ISTE. His areas of interest are refrigeration, air conditioning, CFD, and food preservation. with special interest in yoga, meditation, and universal human values. It's a pleasure to have our beloved principal, Dr. B. Sadashiv Gowda, as our panel member.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
joining.
much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Dear sir, with your rich academic background and experience, you have seen many colleges. Why do you think a student should prefer VVC over other colleges?
Yeah, very good question from the students and the parents' perspective. Why one should join VVC? There are many reasons why they should opt for VVC. Number one, our institute is accredited by NBA and also by NAC with an A grade. I think ours is very few, one of the very few institutes in the state of Karnataka to have been accredited by both the agencies. That is the first thing. The second thing is we have highly committed faculty. About 56 of the 175 faculty are with PhDs. And so when we have rich faculty, they provide an experiential learning, and the average experience of our faculty is around 8 to 10 years. So when you have committed, passionate, qualified, and experienced faculty, the ambience will be totally different, where every student who joins our institute is going to gain a lot. That is the second point. Third point is the infrastructure. We have, I would say, excellent infrastructure. If you look at the classrooms, every classroom is uh, provided with importance lecture capture solution, where a student can go through the delivered lectures any number of times because every lecture that is delivered is recorded. So that's why when we went online a few months ago, we had no problems at all. That is the third point. The fourth is we also provide incubation facility on the campus. A student who joins our institute, if they have a brilliant idea, they can convert that idea into a product or a service. That is also possible. And I would say overall, because of the reputation, because of the teaching learning process, because of the autonomous scheme, and because of the committed faculty, I think one should join VVC. Over to you, Ms. Rupapriya JK.
Thank you so much, sir. All your valuable points are noted. Now, I take pleasure in introducing Dr. S.K. Prasad, the professor and head of the Department of Civil Engineering, Vidya Vardhaka College of Engineering, Mysore. Dr. S.K. Prasad is a renowned academician with 35 years of teaching and research experience. He comes with the most inspiring educational background, starting from his bachelor degree in civil engineering from the University of Mysore, where he secured first rank with honors. This distinction earned him as prizes from the university. He obtained a PhD in Political Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology in 1985 and doctoral degree from the University of Tokyo, Japan, with scholarship from Asian Development Bank. He served as visiting teacher at ISC New Delhi, visiting assistant professor at Institute of Technology, Thailand, as a professor at SDT Mysore. He also served as Indian Geotechnical Society for four consecutive terms from 2007 to 14 as the member of National Executive Council. He has published over 165 technical papers in national and international journals and conferences, guided over 70 master's dissertations, and guided three doctoral students. Presently, he is guiding three research scholars to obtain PhD. With his interest in research, he has successfully completed several sponsored research projects from JSS MFE, AICT, and DST. And he also developed Earthquake Engineering Laboratory at SJC Mysore. When he was the project coordinator, he made SJC proud as it was recognized as one of the best performing institute in TechWeb 2 for World Bank Assisted Government of India project. He is a person with enormous knowledge and he believes in sharing the knowledge to enhance the capability of another person. Hence, he delivered lectures in VTU EduSat programs, Indian Geotechnical Society Hyderabad, GIAN program, IGS Bangalore chapter at IAC Bangalore, and also in Japan, Malaysia, and Singapore. He successfully organized Indo-Japan workshop on earthquake geotechnical engineering at Kochi and many more national and international workshops. He is a person respected for his knowledge, wisdom, and simplicity. Hence, he was honored by Institution of Engineers Mysore Center during the Engineers Day celebration as the outstanding achiever in civil engineering in September 2018. Dear sir, extremely proud to have you at VVC and also in this panel discussion. Sir, with such rich experience in the field of civil engineering, we would love to know from you, why should a student pursue civil engineering?
Thank you, Professor Rupapriya. Very good evening, friends. So I just try to mention a few points as crisp as possible. Well, friends, do you know that civil engineering is the oldest branch in engineering, next only to military engineering? All other branches, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, computer engineering, they followed civil engineering. Secondly, don't you think that our world is beautiful? If our world is beautiful, it's only because of the civil engineers, because of the beautiful buildings, roads, bridges, dams, tunnels, airports, tall structures built by civil engineers. Thirdly, as a civil engineer, I believe you are a complete person. You will be innovative. When you take up big projects, you will be managing men, material, machines, money, and hence, you will be a leader. Then, any infrastructure which is built, could be a road, could be airport, could be bridge, it is built by civil engineers. See the budget in any country, including India. Always major share will be for infrastructure. Even during the pandemic lockdown period, Honorable Prime Minister announced 5 pillars of self-reliant India. He mentioned, economy, infrastructure, technology-driven system, vibrant demography, and demand. And perhaps, lastly, no 2 days at work will be similar for a civil engineer, because every time he will have to do new things. Every time there will be some uncertainties. And hence, a civil engineer will never get bored in his job. I can keep on mentioning many things, but I'll stop at this stage, mentioning that, civil engineers are the nation builders. I want all of you, students, to be one such great personality. Thank you, Professor Rupapriya.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed a beautiful point. Now, we shall move on to the next panel member. It gives me immense pleasure introducing our respected guest, Engineer K. Sriram. We are very fortunate to have with us Engineer K. Sriram, who is well known in the construction industry from past 35 years and is famous for his Mysore's biggest housing projects called Tapovan, which won the prestigious award Project of the Year in 2008. Engineer K. Sriram is the Managing Director of Enclaves Infrastructure Private Limited, Managing Partner of Tapovan Projects, and Principal Consultant of RAM Consulting. He has been associated with Builders Association of India, Confederation of Real Estate Developers Association of India, Indian Green Building Council, IGBC, International Federation of Asia and Western Pacific Contractors Association, and he has served as chairman, state chairman, and also co-chairman in all these associations. He has major contribution in various committees and is currently a member of IGBC Green Affordable Housing Rating System, National Vision Panel on Technology for Affordable Housing, Government of India, National Jury Member at Planning Commission of India for the prestigious Vishwakarma Awards, Head of Infrastructure Panel of CII, Managing Trustee of the Mysore's Builders Charitable Trust, Committee Coordinator for developing the National Standard Contract Document at Niti Aayog, New Delhi. He is also the National Chairman of the Committee on Corporate Affairs, BAI, Chairman of National Green Skills Commission, IGBC, and also the Joint Secretary of CREDI National. Apart from all this, he is also a passionate teacher, best speaker, and a horticulturist. We are truly honored to have engineer K. Sriram with us today. Dear
Thank
sir,
you. Thank you. Thank you.
dear sir, you live every moment as a successful civil engineer. You have created history in the field of construction. What, according to you, are the opportunities for young budding civil engineers?
Thank you for that very elaborate introduction. I thank Professor Prasad for having me here this evening, and it's always a pleasure to come on to a show which is being held by the Vidyavartika institutions, because you are definitely one of the more far-sighted institutions which are there in this in definitely in our city, and it's always been a pleasure interacting with the staff and students at your college, because there is a big freshness which is there always with Vidyavartika, always willing to learn, always willing to take on new challenges. And I think one of the few engineering colleges which actually involves the industry in actually trying to frame your syllabus. So it's great to be with Vidyavartika, and I hope I'm audible. My it's is what I'm saying
Yeah,
audible?
yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. So, when you are talking about what are the opportunities for civil engineers and how it is, I think right now you are at a most exciting time, because what is happening is there is all the divisions between the various disciplines of engineering are blurring. Right now, we are seeing technology which is actually acting as a bridge between all these various branches of engineering. So today, as a civil engineer, you cannot be like what you were earlier on. You have to be very much tech driven. You will have to be computer savvy. You have to be IT savvy. You'll have to know what's happening. And because of this, there's a whole lot of new things which are happening in the entire industry. You mean you can do it right? You can take the entire this thing of building information management, whatever BIM or whatever, artificial intelligence, blockchain, you name it all. It is all coming into our industry. So this is a one very exciting time for young talent to get into this industry, because sky is the limit. The sky is the limit right now, because there's so many things you can do. It's just not just building, even getting onto a site and building buildings anymore. There's so many different things which are associated with construction, which are on today, and that gives you much more opportunities, much more excitement, and that I feel. I really would love to be a student at this time, because you've got so many more opportunities, and you've got so many better things to do than what we used to do earlier, maybe 35 years ago.
Miss Rupapriya, you are muted. Miss Rupapriya, you are muted. Yeah.
So thank you so much, sir, for that positive note. And I'm sure you're expecting everybody to be an all rounder. Thank you. Dear Principal, your dream of autonomy, getting VVC accredited by NBA and NAC, has been achieved. Could you please elaborate on the advantages of autonomy, NPA, and NAC accreditation?
Yeah. Firstly, if you talk about autonomous, we have become autonomous from the current academic year, that is from 2021, 2020-21. And we have been aspiring to become autonomous because of several advantages it offers to the colleges and also to the students. Number one, we are in a position to design our own curriculum. In fact, we have involved the industry to design the curriculum for the first year, and also we are designing the curriculum for the second year, third year, and the final year in close collaboration with the industry. Thereby, we are in a position to educate our students, provide the teaching learning process that cater to the industry needs, and also we can offer electives, that industry requires. So that facility was not there earlier. That is basically for non-autonomous institutes. And the second thing is, you talked about NBA and NAC. NBA is a program-wise accreditation. Purpose of accreditation. The purpose of accreditation is that we are inviting an external agency, particularly a national level agency, to come and check us and tell us what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses. And, thereby we will know where we stand with respect to other institutes and what are the areas for improvement. And similarly, NAC, that comes, it checks the entire institute, all the programs. Thereby, we will come to know what are our strengths, and based on their advice, there will be a huge scope for us to improve further. And if you look at the NBA, we went for NBA accreditation in the year 2017, and 5 graduate programs which were eligible then for accreditation were accredited. And again, recently they visited in the month of February, and those 5 programs that were earlier given for 3 years have been re-accredited, and also civil engineering for the first time has been accredited by NBA. It means that they are also very appreciative of our institutional infrastructure, the faculty, and the learning ambience. And even the UGC committee that visited our institute to give autonomous status, they really appreciated our institute because we have been making headway in many areas of learning, teaching, learning process. And coming to the NAC accreditation, ours is one of the few institutes in the state of Karnataka, because only 10% of the institutes get an A grade, and we are one among them. It means that we are in the top 10% in the entire state, perhaps in the entire India, with respect to NAC accreditation, because we got an A grade in the first attempt itself. So all these tell us indirectly that we are maintaining a standard which is comparable to the best institutes across India, perhaps across the globe. So in that way, VVC has made huge brand name in the field of academics, particularly in the engineering and management education. Thank you, Mr. Rupapriya, for that question.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. This dream of yours has proven the quality of the institution. That's a great achievement. Now, I would like to ask a simple question to Sriram. Sir, do you think that this curriculum, the freedom of framing curriculum in an autonomous engineering college, will make graduates better industry ready?
I think it's a nice question which you have put it out. 100%, because if you look at what actually we are doing in most of our streams of engineering, is we are actually studying not what the industry wants. We have been studying basically what we all learned maybe 35 years ago. A good part of the entire thing is what we all learned 35 years ago, 40 years ago. The same syllabus continues, and the whole thing goes on. Definitely, the entire industry has changed. The students have changed. I think I would say even the microprocessors within the students have changed. They become much smarter today. So you do have to evolve when you have to change. And I think this gives you a lot of agility. The minute you are, when you're autonomous, you can definitely take your own decisions and do what is best for the students. Because I think you can produce much more industry-ready students always. Because now, I don't know, even when Mr. Narayan Murthy a few years ago came out and said, almost 90% of our engineering students are not employable. There were reasons for that. And I think a good part of that was because of our syllabus. Because there have been always committees which have been formed at the state level and various levels, which have gone into the various aspects to talk about the changes in syllabus. But none of these things really see the light of the day. Because what happens is, in most of the institutions, they would not like to change the syllabus because they don't have the teaching faculty to teach things, to teach issues which are actually very current. But I don't think a problem like that is going to occur here at VVCE, because one thing which I see with the entire staff here and the entire this thing there is that you are always there for any seminar, any of these issues. You're always there to learn, and definitely you're keeping yourself well equipped and keeping your ear to the ground and really learning what is very important and being kind fairly current. So I feel any institution which is going to be having its autonomy will be extremely good for the students. And finally, the students come out well. It's actually going to do well for the industry. When the industry does well, the economy does well. So I think it's just not a very simple thing just about an institution, because I think your the entire ecosystem changes the minute you have the agility to change your syllabus to the needs of the industry.
Thank you so much, sir. That was truly encouraging, and we will change with the change. Now, I'm sure our participants are very curious about civil engineering at VVC. Now, I request Professor S.K. Prasad, the HOD of Civil Engineering, to share facilities and strategies from the Department of Civil Engineering at VVC.
Thank you, Professor Rupapriya. And my sincere thanks to Engineer Sriram for the nice words about autonomy in general and VVCE in particular. The Department of Civil Engineering at VVCE has the best laboratory infrastructure, excellent teachers with an average age of around 35 years. So we have both young and experienced teachers, dedicated professors from almost all the disciplines of civil engineering. So structural engineering, environmental engineering, geotechnical engineering, hydraulic engineering, transportation engineering, building sciences, fabulous teaching learning environment, focus on practical training and demand-driven research, extremely student-friendly environment. We have a department library, research laboratory. We have a self-sufficient computer laboratory. And as mentioned by Engineer Sriram, we focus on preparing industry-ready civil engineers. And the list goes on. The department has been accredited by NBA as mentioned by our beloved principal, and it is recognized by Vishveshwaraya Technological University as a research center. So I believe we have everything to offer to our students.
So, just as the college looks so beautiful from outside, we also have a lot of facilities at the Department of Civil Engineering, as Professor rightly said. Thank you so much, sir. Dear Sriram, sir, with your experience in the industry as an MD of your company, what do you think is the expectation from the industries when recruiting fresh engineering graduates?
Well, I think one of the first things which anybody is going to really look at is the attitude and aptitude of the person who is recruiting. Of course, academic brilliance is very important. We will be looking, there is some weightage to it. But if you really look at the whole thing, it is your attitude and aptitude which is something which we really look at. We are always very keen on judging on this aspect, because what happens is civil engineering is a very, very different line of engineering compared to other branches, because this is one branch of engineering where you will be actually communicating with all the strata of society, right from the bottommost to the topmost. You may be a consultant who's got a double PhD, and right from the uneducated worker on the field till the person who's having a double PhD, who is a consultant. You'll be communicating across the strata, and so this is something which is not that easy. So the aspect is, and another thing is, for a civil engineer, he has to be thinking on his feet. He cannot sit on the front of a computer and have his own time and then come out and do things at his own time and making. So what happens is he has to be thinking on his feet. Decisions are going to be instantaneous. So we will always be looking at how their attitude and aptitudes are, because that is very important, because we really look at how well they have the ability to learn and how well they can actually come on with whatever they have to be doing on the site. Because this is something which is very, very important. This I'm telling, what I'm talking to you about is when we are talking about the old style civil engineering, when we are talking about construction sites. But one thing we have to all understand, my dear friends, is civil engineering is just not about construction sites anymore. It's much bigger than that. It is even you've got so many branches, right from GIS to whatever BIM or whatever you have, which is very different. It is very similar to your IT enabled fields. So when it comes to that, definitely your ability to whatever you how you have a good front office in which you have the way of showing us how well you can actually articulate and tell us how well what you've learned. That's very important. This is something which is very important because I've been on interview committees and I've seen many times students know the the answer to a question but do not have the communication skills or do not have the courage to come out there and talk to us. So this is something I feel that every engineering college should also have dedicate a lot of time on is improve the communication skills of each and every one of your students, because your front office is very important, my dear friends. That is something which you have to do, and you have to have the confidence, because good communication skills, which is backed by good knowledge and good information, is very important, because then you can definitely communicate and you can articulate the right way in an interview, and you can actually convince the interviewer to saying that this is what you know and this is what you don't know. Again, this one thing which I always tell students is be very clear with the interviewer as to what you don't know and what you know. Don't try to don't try to view tails, or don't try to get to those issues, because it's going to be very difficult for you, and you're not going to go very far in that way. Please audit yourself as a student and always see to it you know exactly what you know and you know exactly what you don't know. And if you're honest about it, I'm sure the interviewer will forgive you for that. There's no problem. There's a lots of time to learn, my dear friends, but you should have the ability to learn, and you should have the thirst to learn. That's very important.
Oh, well, so I think we got to know the secret behind every successful civil engineer. It is the aptitude, attitude, and of course the communication skills. Thank you so much for sharing those top secrets of successful civil engineers. Research and innovation is the need of the hour. This pandemic has created a lot of opportunities in this area. Dear Principal, could you please tell us about the facilities provided for research and innovation at VVCE?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Rupapriya. As Professor S.K. Prasad has mentioned, we have 9 research centers in our institute. Every department has its own research center. And there are many PhD scholars who are pursuing PhD program in these research centers. That is, people who are interested to do PhD, yes, they register as research scholars. In fact, this time we are also planning to have full-time research scholars with a stipend from the institute. Second thing is at the undergraduate program. Let's say the students who join after +2, they come to the first year, second, third year. What is that we offered for them to do research? In fact, there are many internship programs. They can go to industry and work. Is one thing. Second thing, they can publish papers. Each department has its own association, and we are very generous in funding students to pursue research. They can publish papers. They can do internship. We also have, just to visit our industry, we have 2 buses exclusively to take our students to the industry. It is totally free. And let us say, in the process of doing research, if they come out with some new concept, new idea, a creative, yes, we have a dean, research and development. They are going to vet all those ideas. In fact, we are going to have the idea generation contest. If the best ideas are, in fact, completely supported by the institute, they can have a prototype. They can also incubate their idea in the incubation facility. So for research and development, the ecosystem is simply outstanding. We promote every idea in our institute because we believe that younger generation can contribute for the growth of our country. Particularly, the Make in India drive, it is very much relevant. There are many students. In fact, there are 7, 8 startups in our incubation facility they are doing exceedingly well. So there are plenty of opportunities to pursue research along with academics. So we are here to support them, encourage them, guide them in such a way that all their aspirations are supported completely. Over to Ms. Rupapriya.
Well, that's a great news for all the researchers and innovators, sir. Thank you so much for having this facility at your college. To excel in academics is important, but as Engineer Sri Ram rightly said, one needs to know and one needs to be aware of the outer world. One needs to know what the industry needs and what the industry expects to be a successful engineer. I would like to pose this question to our HOD. Sir, do you have any interaction with industry and institutions?
Thank you, Professor Rupapriya. My thanks to our principal also, because his focus has always been one, research, two, be interacting with industry. And we strongly believe at VVCE that, it is the best way to grow. In civil engineering, we have a close interaction with, many professional associations. To name a few, Builders Association of India, Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, Institution of Engineers, Indian Geotechnical Society, Indian Green Building Council, and we have association with industry like L&T, some governmental, agencies like Public Works Department, Mysore City Corporation. Very recently, we have an offer from National Highway Authorities. But that's why, Engineer Sri Ram is here today. We believe the best way to teach is to provide society-driven education, which requires a close association with industry. And as was mentioned by Engineer Sri Ram also, our syllabi in autonomous scheme are focused on practical training linked to the requirements of the industry. Over to Professor Rupapriya.
Thank you, sir. This actually looks like you have a lot of interaction with the industry and you are bridging the gap between the industry and institute. Thank you so much for that. With the increasing competition, acquiring additional skills has become very important today. And our guest, Sri Ram sir, has rightly mentioned how important is attitude, aptitude, and also communication skills. Dear Principal, could you please tell us more about different career development programs offered at VVC?
Uh, See, if you look at, as Mr. Engineer Sriram mentioned, the holistic development of our student is very, very important and paramount. Because when they join our institute, they join because they get good education. When you say that good education in engineering, it is something both theory and practice. Now the question is, will it be enough for them to get a job? We know that it is not completely enough. What else is required? As Mr. Sriram mentioned, that they need to be good at communication. We call it soft skills, because we have seen many students who are extremely brilliant. Due to lack of communication skill, they are not able to get very good jobs. They may get good jobs, but it is not proportional to the knowledge they possess. So in order to make it understandable to our student community, we have an integrated training program right from semester 1. In fact, at the moment they join our institute, they are going to have the 3-week induction program where we try to understand their abilities, skills set, and we plan the program in such a way that they are trained continuously, because there are certain skills that cannot be learned overnight. It takes its own time. So they will have sufficiently large time, that is from 3 years almost, because normally the recruitment happens when they go to the 7th semester. So the first 3 years, they will be trained in all aspects of communication, aptitude, values, then the technical skills. In fact, we are planning to provide coaching even for the GATE and the UPSC examinations. So thereby, we tell them what exactly they need to learn. We make them understand what are their strengths and the weaknesses. how their weaknesses can be translated or converted into strengths. All these things happen in the training and placement department. And it is completely supported by the faculty. And also we get people from the industry to talk to the students to inspire them that what skills are important, because the skill set keeps changing. And also they how to make them continuous learners, lifelong learners. All these things happen, seamlessly from first semester till they graduate from our institute. So we have an excellent training and placement department that takes care of the needs of our students. Over to you, Professor Rupopriya.
That's really nice to know that students are being trained from first year itself, from first semester till the final year till they get placed. Oh, that's a good news. Well, in continuation to what Principal said, of course, we all believe that 4 years of hard work and engineering knowledge, with all its application, leads to a job offer from a reputed organization. In this regard, I would like to request the HOD to kindly share his thoughts on placement opportunities after graduation.
Thank you, Professor Rupopriya. Very clearly, Engineer Sriram mentioned, the three important things required for any engineering graduate to get into the jobs are one is, the foundation in the knowledge, then the attitude and communication skill. Principal also very well mentioned that, we put in all our efforts to improve all these things in our institution so that, a student, when he graduates, will have the confidence. Luckily, you are the placement officer, and you have already given me a lot of indications about the confidence you have on opportunities to our civil engineers. But in general, I would like to say all over the globe, civil engineers will not have a very good placement in their core area like a computer engineer before leaving the college. Please note. However, I can assure that all the civil engineering graduates from VVCE will be very well placed in a few months. It's perhaps the only engineering discipline which has maximum opportunities in government. Approximately about 60% of our civil engineers get into government, both at the center as well as at the state levels. And it provides perhaps the best opportunity for entrepreneurships. Maybe 10 to 15% of our people, will be entrepreneurs. Interestingly, civil engineers have done very well in IT field also. So life of a civil engineer, at an age of 40 years, as was mentioned also by engineer Sriram, will be majestic because, he will be a leader. And a computer engineer continues to work with the computer all through. Unlike that, civil engineer will have lot of activities, lot of leadership opportunities, showing innovation and so on. So, engineer Sriram is a civil engineer by choice. Over to Madam Rupapriya.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, I can visualize a beautiful world created by you, civil engineers. Thank you so much. Dear Sriram, sir, we hear a lot about the conditions of civil engineers, whether it be the place of work or salary. Today, I would want you to deliberate on two important points. Point number one, is it true that civil engineers will always work in remote areas under difficult conditions? And this profession is not a white collar job? That is my question number one. My question number two is it true that the salary and perks of civil engineers are much less than those of engineers from IT industry? So,
This is a question we get always, but I always have the same, very similar answer to this. Uh, there's many old adages which are not wrong, and they're still very, very relevant even today. Slow and steady wins the race. There's no substitute to hard work. You will not die of hard work. I think all these things are something which are very relevant and very true even today. See, the aspect is the I don't think anybody should shirk the opportunity to go and work hard. And this is the age when you're coming out of college and whatever it is, for you to go out there onto the field and work hard. Because if there's one place which you really learn and learn the fastest and also gain the best respect, is if you go and prove yourself on the field. If not, you will be an armchair critic, and then you'll be a desk man, and you will not ever get the same respect which a guy who has gone onto the field and won a war is going to get. My dear friends, is just like the army. Today, if you're in the army and if you shirk from going out there, once they go out there and they are victorious, the sweet swell of success is something great. This is something which you will really miss out if you are going to shirk away from going onto the field and working in the heat and dust. If you're going to shirk away from that, you can take it from me. It's guaranteed that in your career you will be going nowhere. Because if you want to be getting the respect from your peers and from everybody else, you need to be going out like a seasoned army man. Go onto the field and prove yourself, earn your spurs on the battlefield, which is a construction site. And also, what happens is slow and steady wins the race. This is something which we always say. We always heard of the story of the tortoise, and here it is the tortoise a civil engineer, because you will be getting money when you want it. You will be like wine or champagne. The more you age, actually, you'll be getting much better. And this is something which you also have to understand is civil engineering is a totally a team game. You will really learn to build teams. You will really know how to work in a team. All these things are very fulfilling, my dear friends. There's a point of time when money becomes irrelevant, but exactly what you have done. Today I've been 35 years in the industry. If whenever I go around town, go around the places and see the real edifices which we have built, it gives you something great. It gives you a thrill with that. This is what we have built in our careers. It's something great. It's something very nice, and this cannot be replaced at all. And all of us have gone through this grind, and all of us have gone through all these aspects. I don't think there's any civil engineer has gone through not gone through this grind. So don't shirk from going through the grind. You will get what you deserve at the right time, but you will have to be smart. You will have to remain concurrent with the industry, know exactly what's happening, and take it from there. And that is going to be very important, my dear friends. But you can take it from me that you have a very bright future if you're wanting to take up civil engineering.
Oh, well, that was a very beautiful way to put it up. And yes, getting into the battlefield and being victorious is the message. Thank you so much, sir. There's a question popped up here on the screen. This is a question from the audience. I request our principal to please kindly take it up. It is wise to update the syllabi to include dynamic changes in the industrial requirements, ignoring the fundamental principles and concepts of engineering.
I no. What we what I would like to tell about this question is that fundamentals are very much important in engineering. Without fundamentals, I don't think we are going to learn much. So you take any engineering branch, whether it be it mechanical, civil, computer science, the first year and the second year, they learn the fundamental subjects and they are not going to be changed significantly. What we do, we update with the latest technologies. Maybe we are going to offer a lot of electives, which are required to the industry because there are certain courses that are outdated. They need to be removed. They need to be updated with the latest technologies. For example, even in civil engineering, they are using artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics. The students of civil engineering need to learn those things. Unless you remove the obsolete curriculum, we are not able to. Otherwise, the students will be overloaded. Already the AICT has reduced the number of credits from 200 to 160. The very purpose of doing all these things is to ensure that students study the latest technologies along with strong fundamentals. For example, mathematics is equally important. We are not saying that we are not going to teach those fundamental subjects. Fundamental subjects will be taught with a lot of reinforcement, and also we are going to remove the unwanted, unnecessary curriculum that is no longer relevant in the present circumstances. In place of it, we're going to put latest technologies that are applicable. Because otherwise, let me tell you that the students will have to struggle to learn those things when they go to the industry. So the curriculum, whatever we design, that is a combination of fundamentals and also the multidisciplinary and latest technologies. Over to you. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you, sir. There's another question popped up. A
Yeah.
participant wants to know,
Yeah.
is this change only for freshers? Because VVC is now
Yeah.
autonomous institution.
Yes, yes. This is only for the first semester students who are going to join our institute. We are going to make it so interesting because we are going to introduce a lot of lab courses. Now, what is happening? We have a lot of theory courses. Engineering more of hands-on experiences. Whatever the branch you take, you must learn. See, when you experience, and that will be costing. Now, if whatever the theory you study after the examination, we tend to forget. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to increase the number of labs so that the theory and the lab will be integrated. I think ours is the first few institutes in the state of Karnataka where we are integrating the lab and theory, because whatever they study in the theory, they are going to implement in the lab. So by that approach, and the students will be more engrossed in learning, and it becomes more experiential. When it is experiential, they enjoy engineering education.
Okay, thanks, sir. I think all the questions are addressed there. Oh, we are now very clear with what a civil engineer's condition and challenges are. Engineer K. Sriram has made it very clear. I'm sure everybody's myth has been gone and they will be victorious. So you also mentioned about Make in India, Startup India, and I would also like to add Atmanirbhar Bharat. You also mentioned that you have a facility to encourage budding entrepreneurs. So, all these missions actually speak about encouraging entrepreneurship to create more entrepreneurs, to create more jobs and more opportunities. Could you tell us a little more about what are the facilities at VVC you have developed to encourage developing entrepreneurs?
Okay, we have a very strong entrepreneurship center by name Aspera. I know that spearheads entrepreneurial activities on campus. It is in association with Vadwani Foundation. Our students have done, in fact, they won national championship award in the year 2011, 12, and also runner-up in the 2013. So when it comes to ESL, they are doing really great. That is one part of promoting entrepreneurship on our campus, because they bring young entrepreneurs to talk to our students. Thereby, our students get inspired, and they also, compete. For example, the Smart India Hackathon. Many student groups have participated, and they won prizes. That is one thing. And if you talk about other things, for example, we also have a Toastmaster Club. Yeah, the Toastmaster Club, I think ours is one of the very few colleges, very few engineering colleges that started Toastmaster Club basically to improve one's leadership quality and communication skill. Like that, there are over 30 clubs basically to carry out various co-curricular and extracurricular activities of our student community. So we have a photography club, we have astronomical club. There are varieties of clubs. The students, based on their interest, they can join 2, 3 clubs, and then learn a lot of things, not just academics. Besides academics, they can learn and improve their personality holistically by associating. For example, in fact, civil engineering students can go to the open source lab. It is open round the clock. So, like that, there are many clubs, many activities. We also have a cultural fest by name Vidyut. So, I think there is no dearth for activities on the campus. I think all these activities will help our student community to enjoy their education in our institute.
Okay, so it's amazing to know that you have so many student-run clubs, not just student level club, but it is at national and international level. That's amazing to know. So we've spoken about academics, we've spoken about clubs, we have spoken about all the activities. Now I have a question for the HOD of Civil Engineering, Dr. S.K. Prasad. Sir, do you encourage civil engineering students to co-curricular activities?
Thank you. Anyway, before answering your question, I just would like to talk in support of what our beloved principal said. Uh, both the fundamentals and the advancement in engineering are required. Therefore, we have balanced both of them. Just to give you an example, in first year, students study a subject what is called as engineering mechanics. Normally, every university, every college will go for that. So what we have done is, instead of making very monotonous, we will make the first year civil engineering subject, which everybody takes, as basic civil engineering course, in which they will actually understand what are being followed in practice, in civil engineering construction. So they will try to understand simple things like what is a foundation, what is a staircase, what is a wall, how it has to be built, what are the forces acting, and so on. In fact, our syllabus was very much appreciated by the experts, and we don't have a textbook for that. So we are now in the process of creating the our own course material. That is how in VVCE we work. And going on to your question on co-curricular activities, yes, definitely yes. So in VVCE, we believe that is the most important thing. And we believe in nurturing all-round development in students. We give importance to leadership quality, teamwork, communication skill, confidence building, strengthening the attitude, in addition to, of course, providing the fundamental knowledge in civil engineering. Hence, we have many clubs within the department and also, many clubs at the college level. We have intercollegiate cultural fest called With Youth, Vivacious, where we have the exhibition of final year projects, bar camp program for organizing seminars, symposia, and so on. Research club for conducting mini projects, Pravartana for outreach activities, and so on. Students will have a lot of chances to showcase their talents. Over to you, Professor Rupapriya.
That speaks a lot about overall personality development of a student. Thank you so much for sharing that. Dear Sriram sir, you have been in the construction industry for many years now. You also mentioned it is 35 years now. Has construction industry changed over the years? Can you just throw more light on this?
Yes, it has changed enormously over the years. And I think the last decade has seen the maximum change in our industry. But this is one industry where there's a big section of the industry which is still doing construction the way it was being done 30 years ago, or even maybe 40 years ago. But there is also a very fairly large section which has actually got onto technology and getting on to see the work being done on concurrent world standards, it's on contemporary world standards. Now you look at the Bangalore metro being built what is happening in Bangalore. You can see this is, you go anywhere in the world, you'll see the metro being built the very same way. You go to any of our highway projects today across the country, anywhere in the world, highway projects are built the same way. Today, if you look at any of the railway and bridge projects, they're all built in a very, very different manner, and you can see that technology has really caught up with all of them. But if you can go around Mysore city and see the way the houses are built, they're still being built maybe the way my father used to build houses 50 years ago. So there is a mismatch in this industry. There is one full section which is still about 50 years behind, but a good part of the industry where the major action is has really moved ahead. And what has happened is there's a big change. The big change is today there is a lot of effort which goes in from civil engineers before a project starts. There's a lot of emphasis on planning, planning, and planning. So what happens is today, if on a major highway project, I may be deploying hardly 30% of my engineers actually on this site. 70% of my engineering force will be at the office because it all entails a lot of planning. It entails a lots of compliances, etc., which can all be done from the comfort of an office. So what has happened is that in that way, there's a big change. So in your previous question, you were saying, I mean, you were talking to me about how engineers complain about getting onto sites, but there is a huge opportunity if you don't want to get into sites also. But again, I will say you have to get onto site to actually understand the whole thing, and then maybe come back to the offices to do whatever you need to do. But yes, there is a huge change in the way construction is happening, and very, very importantly, the plethora of sub branches of civil engineering. You can name that each and everything which is coming up every year. You're seeing at least what 3 or 4 new branches are coming up. It may be robotics, it may be artificial intelligence, blockchain, whatever. It may, you just name it. GIS, BIM, you name it, it's all coming along. So what is happening is, and the latest is 3D printing. So thing is, it is changing and changing amazingly fast. There was a time when there was a huge lag between civil engineering and the other branches of engineering. But today, I think civil engineering is catching up very fast. Things are changing very quickly. And the engineers who are going to be coming out now will have to be very agile in their learning process, because things are going to be changing at that pace.
Okay, that's actually a very good news for all the civil engineers. Sir. They have a lot of opportunities. So that's a great news. Thank you. So before we conclude, I have one important and a final question to the HOD of Civil Engineering. Sir, you have any message for young students who are looking forward to become civil engineers?
Yeah, thank you. Again, just to add to what engineer Sriram mentioned, I was closely, looking at one project in Japan called Trans Tokyo Highway, which was connecting two places below the sea. And in that, planning was for about 10 years, almost from 1980s to 1996 or 97. Then, only within about 2, 3 years, all the construction work was done. So, rightly said by engineer Sriram, today what is required is we have to plan from all round aspects and then, execute the thing meticulously without wasting much time. So that means, as I already mentioned, lot of changes have happened in civil engineering. We need to, adopt that. And those of you students who take up civil engineering, you will always have the pride that you are directly helping mankind, providing comforts, providing luxury. Can you name one of the greatest engineers produced in India? With how proud it is Sir M. Vishwesvaraya, Bharat Ratna M. Vishwesvaraya. He is worshipped for his great attitudes. He is worshipped for his civil engineering contribution. Minds try to imitate him. If you do so, I assure you, will be highly respected and you'll be extremely successful as a citizen of our country. So I close mentioning all the students, great success, and parents also that you should have the confidence that your child will become a great civil engineer. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
That was a beautiful message to all the youngsters out there, and that's very inspiring. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to request our respected principal, Dr. B. Sadatya Gowda, to respond to this panel question. What is your advice for students opting civil engineering at VVC?
Can you repeat the question? Can you repeat?
Yes, sir. So, what is your advice for students opting civil engineering at VVC?
Yeah. So, my advice to the students who opt for civil engineering at VVC, they are going to have a great learning experience at VVC, and we will be very much concerned about each and every student in our institute. We ensure that they progress smoothly. Not only they get a degree, we also ensure that they they become industry ready, and they will have all the qualities of engineers. because NBA says that engineers must have so many attributes or qualities or characteristics, and we will ensure that through our systematic teaching learning process, co-curricular activities, we ensure that every student who graduate, who leaves the portal of VVCE is industry ready, or we would say that he should be ready for higher education, or he should be he should be ready to start his own company. I think keeping this in mind, we teach our student community because we want them to contribute to the growth of our country, not just our country, the entire globe. Because the engineers who get graduated today, they should not focus only on India. Of course, India will become a land of opportunities in another 1 or 2 years, but they should look at the entire globe. The entire globe, there are so many opportunities for them. I think they should be joining VVC to grab those opportunities. Thank you, Ms. Rupopriya.
That's very encouraging, and the set of guidelines and the guidance you've given is very helpful for all the youngsters out there. Thank you so much, sir. We have come to the end of this panel discussion, but before we close, I would request our special guest, Engineer K. Sriram, to tell us more about the changes. You have spoken about the changes in the construction industry, but we would also like to understand what changes are seen in the construction industry because of this present pandemic situation. And what would be your advice for civil engineering students at times like this?
Thank you. Before I answer the question, I would like to really compliment your principal and the entire management because there are a few things which he said which are really loud. He said he wants to integrate what is going to be learned and why in the labs. This is something wonderful, and this is something which will really help the children, the students, learn very, very well. That's very, very good. And the last thing which he said, saying that he wants to make truly global engineers, I think I should really compliment you, sir. I'm not wearing a hat. If not, I would have doffed my hat to that. It's fantastic what
Thank you,
you've come
sir.
out with, because this should be this should be the spirit of the entire country. We should not be we should be world class. It should not be just national class or what is good for India, but we need to be world class. And I think that is what you have said is going to be a cutting edge theory which is going to be taking your institution to greater heights. Okay, now coming to this question about the pandemic and the way ahead. First and foremost, it's my wish and my prayer that each and every one of you remain safe, because we are in the midst of a very dangerous pandemic, and it is a very smart pandemic. So your safety, your health, I think is going to be very, very important, and it's my wish and prayer that all of you remain safe. But now these are things which always, these are challenges which are thrown to us, and what is the way ahead? So here, I just may have to take a little more time, because always this is a question which is being played, which is being thrown at me across the country on about what is the way ahead and what's going to be happening. So here we really have to go back into history for just a few seconds, because this is something unprecedented. We are here right now in a situation which is really unprecedented. In 1929, when the Great Depression happened, it almost continued for a decade in 1929, because we have had, the entire world has had about 32 recessionary cycles in its recorded history, and the 2008 recession was the biggest recession. Other than that, the worst was the Great Depression in 1929. Now, right now, we are in a situation, what we are looking at is we are going to be worse than the 2008 Great Recession. What is the situation? It's going to be worse than that, but not as bad as the Great Depression. But one thing we got to, I mean, there's a silver lining in these clouds are that there are very few options for any government to get out of the situation. And what are the options? You spend much more on infrastructure and construction. This is something which every government does when it needs to get out of trouble. And what does that mean for a civil engineer? That means a lot of opportunities which are going to come out there for you. So what is going to be happening is, if you look at in our country right now, we have got what is called as the National Infrastructure Pipeline, where we are wanting to spend about 105 lakh crores before 2025, which transfers into about 1.3 or 1.4 trillion US dollars. But there is something beyond that, which says that before 2030, India is going to be spending $4.5 trillion on infrastructure and construction. So now, if you guys are wanting to join engineering in 2020, by the time you guys come out in 24 or 25, you will be there at the right time, because that is when biggest action is going to be taking place in our country. And here again, other aspect which is there is the opportunities for you are not going to be limited to India, because the average demography, I mean, if you look at the demographics of our country, it's so favorable. The working population in good part of the world is going down very drastically. And it is the Indians who will have to be going out around the world to build infrastructure or do whatever, be it be medical care, be it be nursing, be whatever. It is the Indians who will be actually who will be actually the entire who will be the who will be the who will be the country who is actually providing manpower to the entire world. So this is where I really liked what your principal said. We are going to be training to global standards. So this pandemic is actually an opportunity. It is going to give you some near-term pain but long-term gain. Since most of you are actually just getting into civil engineering right now, I don't think you should be really looking at the pain part of it. As I said, keep yourself safe and healthy. By the time you come out, and within a few years, you can see the whole thing is going to change manifold, because there are very few things the government can do in such a situation. And one of the few things which they will definitely do is to increase spend on infrastructure and construction. And that is going to make the civil engineer much more important. And it is you guys who are going to go out there and make the civil engineering fraternity shine, make the construction industry great. And because of doing all these things, you'll really see to it that this country prospers, and all of you civil engineers will be part of the big success story. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Your valuable words have actually spread out a lot of positivity in all the young engineers. Thank you so much for laying out that path of success, and you have shown them a ray of hope, or a lot of hopes. Thank you so much. With this, we have now come to the end of this fruitful panel discussion. This interaction was truly informative, and I'm sure our viewers, participants of this program, are completely benefited. Before we say goodbye, I would like to thank our magnanimous members of the management for encouraging us to host this event. I would also like to express my deep sense of gratitude to our special guest, Engineer Keshri Ram, for accepting our invitation and for being such a wonderful, positive panel member today. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us. My sincere
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
My
It's a pleasure.
sincere thanks. My sincere thanks goes to our beloved principal, Dr. B. Sadashiv Gowda, who has been the source of inspiration for conducting this program. Thank you so much, sir, for being a part of this. I would also like to thank the person who planned, designed, and hosted this program. That is none other than the HOD of Civil Engineering, Dr. S.K. Prasad. Thank you so much, sir, for making it a grand success. I thank all the faculty members and staff for supporting us in organizing this event. Last but not the least, I thank each and every participant for joining us today and for making this panel discussion a huge success. I wish you all good luck. Choose the best, be the best. Stay home, stay safe, and please take care. With this best wishes, I, Rupapriya JK, is signing off. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
madam.
you.
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sriram sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Principal
Thank
sir.
you.